to Primorix for some Bastion. Take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Primorix.
I'm Vulajin.
And I'll be running Bastion all story levels for you today. So let's just get started. Time will start once I select this normal mode. So 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so for the beginning here, Primorix will mostly be focusing on gameplay, so I'll be covering most of the commentary. So we get started. This is Bastion. If you have not played this game, you kind of might want to, I don't know, peace out, go pick it up, play it on Steam, come on back. You can watch the run on YouTube later. But this is an isometric brawler made by Supergiant Games back in 2011. Right at the start here, we find ourselves in a world torn apart by the Calamity, whatever that is, and we're going to make our way towards the Bastion. And we're going to pick up our first weapon of many, the hammer. And as you can see here, Primorix is moving around using the keyboard and mouse controls. There's a couple different ways to control this game. Keyboard and mouse actually is the fastest because it adds the speed of your click movement. Think of like Diablo-style movement. It adds the speed of that to your roll, so it helps you go a little bit faster, actually like 30% faster, so it's significant. And you pretty much have to do this if you want to go as fast as possible. So as we're heading into the Soul Regret here, Primorix is going to go ahead and shoot Rondi, the bartender, who is kind of dead already, but still kind of seems rude to shoot him. But as it turns out, in this game, basically everything about the speedrun is centered around hitting the script triggers to advance each area as quickly as possible. So in this case, he had to shoot Rondi and then pick up the shield and then break that turret. And now he needs to kill all these boxes as quickly as possible. The boxes have 22 health exactly. His hammer attacks deal 10 and his roll does 2. So he just kind of knows a sequence to do to break those things. And actually, combat's not a super heavy focus of this speedrun, but when you do have to engage in combat, you kind of already know where everything's going to show up and how much health they have, and your attacks pretty much always deal consistent amounts of damage. So there you see, Primorix was able to get rid of all but 2 of those squirts, and that was the script trigger to be able to exit the Soul Regret and head to the Wharf District. So now you're going to get to see kind of a little more about how the movement in this game works. You notice that the ground forms up in front of him as he's going along here, and that actually has some implications because he's moving 30% faster than intended, and the ground is not necessarily going to form up at that rate. So in some places that's going to be a difficulty, in other places it'll cooperate just fine, but he'll have all his rolls kind of planned out to make sure he moves as quickly as possible without falling off the edge of the ground. So here, we're coming to the end of the Wharf District, and at the end here, there's a arena encounter. It's pretty lengthy. It's designed to kind of get you doing some combat and saying, like, here's, you know, kind of how the combat in this game works and what enemies are like, but that is slow, and we're not going to do that. So we're going to instead start clipping through things because we can roll, and when you can roll, turns out most barriers are not necessarily actually barriers. So we just skipped all that crap, went through that gate, picked up a core, and are heading to the Bastion. So in just a moment, I'll tell you a little bit about what that core actually is. But first, we're going to do a little bit of a glitch here. So Primorix is going to select both of these dialogue options by doing a frame-perfect interact with Rux right after talking to him the first time. He drops his core into that monument, which is required. Now this fall off the ground there is intentional. Now he's waiting for a cue here.
Growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use.
And then he knows he needs to fall again, so he gets control right there and can immediately travel onto the Skyway, and he is on to the next level, Workman Ward. So this is the fastest level in the game, and it's pretty straightforward, and we'll kind of set up the formula for what we're doing here. Each level is, presumably it's going to have a core or some objective that you need to achieve. In this one, it's a core. He shoots the cage because that actually causes the foreman to spawn a little bit sooner, and then he takes him out and gets access to the core, and he can leave. So what are cores, right? So cores are the primary progression item in this game. And you need to collect 7 of them, and then you need to also collect 7 shards a little bit later in the game. And once you've done that, the 14th shard, however you happen to get it, completes the game. So since this is all story levels, we have to do things in the intended order, and so as a result, we're going to complete all the levels in order to get all the cores and shards. But now we're heading to an auto-scroller. So there's only 3 of these in this run, so it's not that bad. I will give you guys a couple things to look out for that Primorix is going to be doing here. One is that he's going to pick up a new secret skill. Earlier, he picked one up called Whirlwind, which allows him to do a spinning attack that does a bunch of damage. This one's Trip Mines. It's exactly what it sounds like. And he's going to be making a bit of use of this, but it's actually only going to last for this one level. The second thing to look out for is he's going to kill all these enemies as quickly as possible, basically. Mostly this is an auto-scroller, but to some extent, there's a couple places where killing some enemies a bit faster will spawn the next wave sooner. There's not a lot of those, but there's a couple. And then the third thing is he's going to time a level up midway through this level where he'll kind of explode for a little bit of damage around the kid, and that will hopefully, if everything lines up properly, kill an enemy that lands near him. But otherwise, this is just an auto-scroller, so Crunchy, you got all sorts of time. Take it away.
I will do my best to make use of that time. We have $5 from Kartacha saying, gotta donate for a fellow Shovel Knight runner, Primorix. Good luck on your run, buddy. We have $50 from Anonymous. More Sonic in the Sonic block. Yes, please. Gotta donate fast. A quick update on that one. We are at 17,405 of 30,000, so we are well under 13,000 left to go on that one. You still definitely want to see that one, folks. It's great.
At this rate, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe 30.
Oh boy, I hope it's not 30. We have $50 from Deject. Loving AGDQ a lot. Great work, everyone. Let's keep it going and beat last year's total raise.
Then a ship with a free sample shows up. It ain't all bad. This kid finds
We have
spice.
$250 from Anonymous with, well, no comment, but thank you for generosity, Anonymous. Thank you so much.
Cage is awful heavy.
We have $250 from DK228, who says, lost my grandparents to cancer before I knew them. Thank you for putting on this wonderful event for a good cause and keeping me entertained for months.
Okay, so coming up in the last wave of enemies, which is going to spawn right around now, I'm going to lure one of them down to the bottom of the screen, and he's going to hit me into the air and allow me to roll onto the barge, which triggers the end of the level a little bit early, if he actually gets down here. Oh, maybe not. No.
Yeah, not
okay.
quite.
So it didn't quite work out, but it's only a small time loss, no big deal. So after this level, just kind of do the usual drill. Every time you get a core, you have to go build a building, except the one time I didn't. So place the core in, and I'm going to build the forge here. I don't particularly care about the forge, but I want to put the distillery, which is the other building choice, in a better location because I do care about that one. That's the only building I use in the run. So Sundown Path is the next level. There's no core here, a scumbag ate it, but still have to do it anyway. Nice thing about this level is the ground forms up basically as fast as you're able to roll. So you can go just as fast as possible and not worry about falling. And that is not the case in most levels.
Right there, that turret is the trigger to open that gate, so you just take it out as quick as possible, and you
That's
roll.
not gonna work.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you roll into that sky bridge while using it to try to get a little bit of extra distance on that boost, and that would allow you to skip the next one, but it's pretty difficult, so not a huge thing to miss it.
Yeah, I think I messed up my setup just a little bit, which is just, and that's the last use of the trip mines, because here I'm going to pick up the hand grenade, which is the secret skill I'm going to use for the rest of the run. You saw just there, they're very powerful, one-shot most enemies, and if you lock onto an enemy with your shield before throwing it, you throw the grenade directly at them and makes it much easier to hit with them.
So we're heading on to Hanging Gardens momentarily, and this is kind of the polar opposite of Sundown Path, which we just did. As Prim was just saying, you know, in Sundown Path, you just roll as fast as you want, and the ground just forms up, and it's beautiful, and everything's great. And in Hanging Gardens, the ground is not going to do that, and so we're going to have to move a lot more carefully. So you're going to see Primorix kind of like not always rolling there, you know, just walk periodically, make sure the ground comes up, and then go across it.
Yeah, you really have to plan out where exactly you're going to roll in most of these levels in order to get through without falling.
Another little clip there to just get through that gate, because otherwise there's a ton of those turrets that you need to kill. And something small that was hard to notice a little bit before that is that he threw a grenade at a turret off screen. There were actually supposed to be 2 turrets there, and you're supposed to kill both of them to open the next gate. But as long as you kill the first one before the second one spawns, it lets you through, and that's going to be a theme in a little bit. But for now, we're going to meet Zulf. He's a proper gentleman. He's a member of the Ura people. They're not really common in Ceylondia. I'm sorry. I can't. I was going to do this for like the entirety of this dialogue. But by the way, like, the narration in this game is fantastic. And if you play this, that is, if you speedrun this, boy, you get real familiar with these dialogue lines.
That's for sure. So now, as I alluded to before, I am going to build the distillery, fingers crossed. And, all right, gotta focus, there we go. And I'm going to equip a spirit called Were Whiskey. What this does is it makes me do critical damage to everything when I'm at low health. So this will be used to speed up most of the combat in the run by just getting down to low health and then doing double damage to all the enemies.
It's worth noting how the health works in this game. If you run out of health, you die, and then you do get a chance to carry on. So you just press the escape key, and it just gets the kid back up, and you can continue the level. But you only get 1 chance to carry on. So if you do die twice, then it's a sad time. So Were Whiskey is pretty risky. Not as risky as it is on like New Game Plus, where you have no chances to carry on, but you know. So Cinderbrick for it here. We're just kind of navigating this as quickly as possible. This level is less about the ground being like slow to form up and more about just kind of anticipating where the ground will be formed up versus not. So, you know, here Prim is just kind of seeing where it forms around this big ring and then anticipating that. And at the end of this level, there's another arena fight. And, well, if you remember the first level, you know what we're going to do to those.
Yeah.
As before.
Not really interested in fighting all those guys.
That sequence of rolls is pretty precise, but there's a good setup for just kind of getting into a little nook, and then you just aim in a specific direction and it goes through.
Kid shows up just as Ulf's telling me about his own journey to the city.
So at this point, none of the buildings matter anymore, except I'm going to go back to the distillery one time, but it doesn't matter what order I build anything in, so I just kind of click whatever comes to me and head to the next level, which is Pith Orchard.
Yeah, so Pith Orchard is a pretty quick level as well. You're going to see a little more combat here at the end of this level, and again, the same theme applies where we know how much damage the enemy has, we know how much damage everything that we can do does. So you're going to see Primorix as he comes around this corner, he's going to just lob a grenade, and then roll forward, throw another one point blank, hammer and musket, and that just takes that dude out instantly. So very nice job, and that will just exit the level pretty quickly. There's not much to it. But we're coming up on another one of Crunchy's favorite things, an auto-scroller. And so the interesting things to keep your eye out for here, there's not too much to it, but the first half of the level is kind of the auto-scroller part, and what you're going to see is Primorix is going to be killing basically everything he can to try to farm some experience because he does want to manipulate another level up later on. And the other thing to pay attention to is he's going to intentionally consume some of his health tonics. He has, if you look in the top left on the UI, you can see that he has 3 blue potions. Those are the health tonics, and he's going to consume some of them so that he doesn't have full health tonics anymore. But that's it. We are going to sail on a barge for a bit, so take it away, Crunchy.
All right, everybody, come sail with me for a moment here. We have $25 from Poke Beanie. Best of luck on your run, Primorix. Greetings from the back couch.
Or maybe not. Security skiff pulls up
We have $25 from Hendrick57. I had to donate during one of my favorite games. Good luck to Primorix. A close friend has been diagnosed with kidney cancer recently, so have my donation to kick cancer's butt. We have $20 from Black Market Bingo, longtime viewer and aspiring speedrunner who lost both of my grandfathers to cancer, and I'm happy to do my first donation during the Bastion run in honor of my best friend Caitlin, who works operations and office assistance at Supergiant Games, who are the developers of Bastion. Love you, Soph, and best of luck to Primorix on the run.
All right, so right about here, the barge is going to get stuck, and this is going to allow me to take a little detour to pick up the core. I just got to hope I don't fall on the narrow path that's going to pop up.
Yeah, fun little thing over here is you'll see stab weeds, which are just plants that have really pointy ends. And if you touch them, you get knocked back a whole bunch, and so it's very, very easy to just get pushed directly off the platform here.
All right, so got through that just fine. Now I'm going to set up Were Whiskey, which means I'm just going to let these guys peck me down to low health. And then I will do critical damage to everything right here.
I love that satisfying sound effect when things get crit. It's so good.
It is. So for, a bit of this level, it doesn't make too much of a difference, but it will allow me to speed up some sections at the end where you do have to kill an enemy as quickly as possible. Oh, I don't like this. Okay.
You're fine.
Yeah.
A little bit weird timing there.
Yeah.
So one thing to note is going back to the health potion. So you see he only has one in his inventory right now. And what happened is basically, if you have a full health tonics and then you pick up another one from the ground, it'll automatically use it. And that would obviously ruin Were Whiskey. So here's the barge that matters. There's 3 enemies on it, another one coming from behind, but just one crit grenade and one crit musket shot, and they are gone. And so is the barge, sadly. It's at the end of its days here.
She's just gotta make one last stop.
All right, so there's one more trigger here to be able to finish the level, and that is that 2 big peckers are going to spawn. You're just going to point blank musket both of them. The grenade throw was for safety, but fortunately he got both musket shots, and he will just be able to make his way onto the next level, Prosper Bluff, as soon as this little hole in the ground opens up. Not even once.
You should remember this name.
All right, so now we're on to Prosper Bluff, and this is one of the more technical levels in the run. Certainly the most difficult one so far. There's a lot of barriers that you're going to clip through, and there's these switches that you need to hit in order to open some of the gates. And then at the end, there's going to be some very precise clips.
The switches sometimes do not like to get hit as well, I've found.
Right there, you can actually roll back across that plank before it falls out. And same here.
So this switch in particular is really annoying, so I just walk up to it to make sure I actually get it. But we're done with the switches. Now I just have to do a couple clips, just.
Yeah, so this one in particular is very finicky, and there you can see exactly why. He's looking for a specific position right behind that little fern there. There it is, so he gets through that one. Now this second one is just as finicky, and he gets it immediately. Very, very nice. And now we're gonna take a quick fall here. That just saves a little bit of walking over towards Zia, and now we will rescue our second survivor. Just so we can do a little bit of story catch-up here, since we're going to pretty much spoil everything in this run. So Zia is the second of 2 survivors. They're both Zolf and Zia, as Rux helpfully points out, are Ura. So they are kind of from another place other than Ceylondia, which is where the kid and Rux are from. And, this calamity happened, and so they're all kind of brought together at the Bastion, which they're trying to restore the world. And so you need to collect all the cores to do that. And so far, you've collected 6, and there's only 7, right? So, as Rux just said, we're nearly done, right? Yeah? Yeah, not so much. About halfway done. So there's a lot going on at the beginning of Wild Outskirts here. There's a lot of script triggers that kind of are specifically ordered. So right here, there's 3 pin cushions. He's going to skip that bottom one. Killing these top 2 first causes a bunch of peckers to spawn at the top. So then he'll get the second one at his leisure. Now these peckers are going to be here. He's going to get Were Whiskey, kill them all, break this log over here. That'll matter in just a second. Now we're going to take out this big pecker and this pin cushion, and that's all the enemies so we can get to the core. But we're not done yet, because you got to clip through this barrier over here and fall before the camera fade out happens. Because he took the fall, now he gets control back during the blackout here, and so he can move towards the exit, clip right on through, and finish the level. So very well done there.
After all, he's got the final.
That's a really, it's just a really impressive looking level when you're able to do it right, so it looks great.
No, it ain't.
All right, so now we're moving into the more difficult section of the run, so it's probably going to be mostly me doing the talking as Primorix is going to be focused. So the story element here is that Zulf is really not happy right now because he found something out and he's going to leave the Bastion and kind of messed it up a little bit. So we're going to need to find the shards to fix that up. And along the way, we're also going to do a little bit of a glitch here. So Primorix is going to take...
Just kidding.
Oh, again, dude,
Yeah,
just
no.
like in practice the other day. I hate this. Okay, so he was trying to fall and trigger the pipe cutscene at the same time. Didn't quite get it. What it would have done is it would have saved a few seconds by... He would have had control while this cutscene was playing. It actually just, like, it doesn't affect anything to not get it. It's just the time loss of several seconds, so not a huge deal. But that particular skip is pretty finicky. Thanks, Sareth. All right, so we are entering now the most difficult level of the run. This is Jocelyn Bog. It's the first of the shard collection levels. And basically the premise here is you go off to Jocelyn Bog and you're going to kind of get intoxicated by the, I don't know, whatever, the weirdness of the bog.
The wilds.
Yeah, the wilds. I just love the way Rux says the word bog. All right, so don't quite get to the shard before we fall asleep, but now is the dream sequence, and this is a very challenging sequence of combat because we're going to be making use of Were Whiskey here right from the start. We're going to fight through 4 different sequences here, and we're going to have to do a bunch of kind of careful movement and manipulation of enemies to take everything out as quickly as possible. So here we go, screen number 1. We're starting with Stink Eyes. These are like boos from Mario, except when they touch you, they blow up and do a bunch of damage. You already saw Primorix did the same thing like on Langston River. He made sure that he ate one of his health tonics so he can't accidentally pick one up and get knocked out of Were Whiskey. He's trying to find, okay, he wanted to find a single Stink Eye to make sure that he didn't take too much damage. So those guys are done. Now he's going to move on to the second section. So the second section, he's just going to swing the hammer, aggro all 4 of these gas flows, chuck a grenade, they all get killed, go to the second room here. Here there's going to be 7 enemies, but only the first 2 are going to spawn at first. The rest are slow. And so remember what I said earlier in Hanging Gardens, if you kill 2 of the enemies, but the rest haven't spawned yet, you get counted as having killed all. So he can move on to here. This screen is just straightforward. You just roll as fast as you can. The ground forms up conveniently, so you're all good to go. He's taking intentional falls here to get control of the kid before the fade-in happens here. Now in this room, he needs to kill 1 turret to spawn Rondi ASAP. There it is. So now Rondi's here. He kills him, waits just a moment, comes over here, takes an intentional death, gets back up during the fade out, and now he can move the kid during this next sequence. You're supposed to be waiting here for the kid to get up. He's like sleeping and wasting time, and we don't want that. So you're gonna roll over here. There's a reflection of the kid here. You gotta kill him as quickly as you can, and if you do this totally optimally, you're able to get there and hit that trigger before the kid even gets up, and that was beautifully done, so very, very good job by Primorix there. Just a perfect showcase of exactly how difficult and precise that level is. So it's not, the level itself isn't actually done yet, but the rest of it is pretty straightforward. So the kid's gonna take a quick little nap here to wake up. All right. So we're gonna wake up here back in the actual real world bog. And we're gonna go fight the boss of this level, but it's actually easier than everything we've done so far. This is called a lung blossom. It's a big old plant. It's gonna spit some crap at us. If we're lucky, the crap will deal enough damage to knock Primorix into Were Whiskey. Instead, it'll deal almost no damage because it sucks. There's the time level up that we wanted from Langston River, and it's pretty nice. It just clears out a ton of these enemies really quickly. But, you know, hand grenades do the trick too. So now, once again, same deal. 2 pin cushions are going to spawn, but one at a time slowly. So he just kills the first one, and that's the same as killing all of them, and he can leave. So that is the first of the shard levels, and again, definitely the hardest level in the run. So although not by a huge amount, there is another similarly difficult level at the end. But so now, as you get these shards, you're intended to upgrade your buildings in the Bastion. Upgrading a building grants you access to like new features of the buildings or like new capabilities. But for our purposes for this speedrun, we just don't even care about any of that stuff. So we're just gonna upgrade whatever in whatever order Primorix feels comfortable with, basically. So Rothus Lagoon is pretty fun. This is another level with some pretty precise movement, and it's also going to have two cool things. First is the Brusher's Pike, which is the, in my opinion, best weapon in the game. It's a melee weapon, it's incredibly powerful, has long reach, and this also has Queen Anne, who's an ankle gator. She's going to swim around the tall grass and provide you a handy little vertical boost that you can use to cross these gaps. And then you can clip through a wall to get to Queen Anne's lair. And now, conveniently, Queen Anne has also dealt us a bunch of damage. That puts us right near where we're seeing. So we're going to intentionally not pick up the shard here. That would heal us to full. We're going to wait for Queen Anne to come. We need to deal a bunch of damage to her to be able to escape the level. So with Where Whiskey, we can do Pike, Grenade, Pike, and Musket, and get out of the level very quickly. It's a nice little combo, taking out Queen Anne instantly. If you don't take her out that quickly, boy, she's something.
Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. All that trouble for a single shard.
All right, so most of the rest of the run is very fast-paced. But we've got our third and final auto-scroller coming up. That's Point Lemaine. And it's going to have one interesting thing that we can talk about right in the middle of the level. But at the beginning, the only real thing to note is there's a clip here, and it sucks. And if Primorix takes a couple tries to get it, that's just it sucks. But go ahead, Crunchy.
But of course, we have $100 from Caitlin, who says, "Good luck with the run, Primorix. Any chance you and Vulajin will maintain the tradition of singing along with the ending theme?"
No.
Very now.
Oh, very no, goodness. We have $25 from Abby, who says, "Longtime viewer, since the first one, in fact. Time to finally donate for a good cause, and what better game than Bastion to get going. I miserably failed at most of its challenges, but I did love the narration and art style a lot. Good luck to Primorix and all runners with their games." And we have $10 from Leon Mashar, who says, "Hey, I hope we get a duo sing-along of the credits. Good luck."
Oh, man.
Get out, Leon.
Good luck from Discord Bastion boys. I don't know, it seems like the public kind of demands the sing-along. I don't know.
Well, sadly, we've got an incentive after this run, so we don't really have time to sit around through the entire credits. Otherwise, maybe we would.
Oh, that's fair, that's fair.
Kid don't let so much as one.
Okay. So we're coming up to the middle of the level here, and the only interesting thing to point out that we're just going to talk about real quick, right after Prime kills this pincushion, he's going to line up an angle with the kid, and then he's just going to roll. He's just going to roll and hope that he got the angle right, so he's going off screen along the angle of the rails, because if he does, he gets a ton of distance while the camera is locked. That was beautiful. That's really, really hard to line up quickly like that, so getting all that distance is really impressive. But sadly, that's like one of the only ways you can speed this level up as an auto-scroller, so we're right on back to the auto-scroller. Go ahead again, Crunchy.
Okie dokie. We have $25 from Sish48, who says, "AGDQ is the only event I put in my calendar every year when the dates are announced, and I'm always so excited when I get notified. I've donated every year I could. Thank you to everyone at GDQ for such hard work and amazing events, and many thanks to PCF for all they do. Donation goes towards Sonic Mania." Which, a little brief update on that, we are now at under $12,000 to go, so let's keep that one rolling.
You can keep going. We still got so much.
All right, all right. We have $250 from Scooter388. Good news and bad news. Bad news, I'm homesick. Good news, I finally get to enjoy Sonic Block for once. Here's hoping GDQ can raise even more for cancer research.
All right, so we got to the end of the level here, and Prime again activates Where Whiskey. This one's just for a very short period of time. He just chucks a grenade off the screen to break the thing. Yeah. And then he kills the right turret, and again, it's the exact same thing where it wants him to kill all of those, but the second one hasn't spawned yet, so killing the first one allows him to move on. And so here we're going to get a little more story. Picking up this letter, it turns out that Zulf found out that the Ceylandians were responsible for the calamity, which kind of destroyed, like, the entire world. So that was bad. They shouldn't have done that. But as a result, Zulf is not super enthused, and so he's, off doing whatever Zulf things that he's doing. And we're going to have to chase him down because we need the shards, and he's probably going to get in our way as we do that. But for now, we're done with the auto scores. There's none left in the run, so it's all just like kind of constant action here for the rest of the way. And these are definitely some of the more challenging levels in the run. We're coming up to my favorite level, Culford Cauldron.
I should point out that Vul is the only person I know who likes this level, or at least got it as their favorite.
It's such a good level. It's very precise. Here at the beginning, there's a difficult clip that, there you go, Prime got it pretty quickly. And there's these narrow platforms. The ground forms up slowly. It's really inconvenient. And I just love how careful you have to be throughout this and how precisely you have to plan all your movements. There, Prime just chugged a little bit of a health drink to make sure that he was not going to take a death somewhere along the way here. Again, it's not the worst thing because he has a chance to carry on, but it is a time waste, so you don't really want that. Speaking of time waste, I think that may even be like your first time falling in this run. So that's pretty impressive. But yeah, as you can see, if you fall off the ground, it's just like a couple seconds of time lost and you just get put back on. But having collected the shard, we're making our way out. There's some brambles here in the way that you could get rid of with the pike, but that is slow because actually when you hit anything with your melee weapon, it has the game has hit pause. It's like 5 frames per hit, so we don't have time for that crap.
He comes back looking like the inside of a chimney.
So that's 4 shards down, 3 to go, and we'll be able to finish the run. But those 3 are going to be incrementally more difficult to obtain. So our upcoming level is Mount Zand. This is the second quickest level in the run. And actually, if you thought that some of the other levels had really uncooperative terrain that was difficult to deal with, well, in this one, you can't see it. It's hidden by the brush here. So you're gonna see Primorix is rolling forward and is the ground there? I don't know, maybe. Okay, apparently it was. Good, great, awesome. So we managed not to fall there. The rest of the level is not as bad. Nice little roll through between those 2 pincushions. I love that strat. And did not get caught by the bootlicker there. So we're gonna have this arena fight at the end of this level, and I would really love to see you, kind of fight this one if you don't mind.
Oh, my bad.
All right, well, all right.
There's a lot of stuff there.
There is a lot of stuff there. As always, that one's actually I love that one in particular. There's just no mechanic at all that actually makes you do that. They just designed it no, you can just leave. But you probably, as a casual player, look at that and you're like, oh, God, I gotta fight all these lung blossoms and stuff. Nah.
I think there's even a different line if you don't fight it, right?
I think so, yeah. There's a lot of that in this game. There's a ton of different dialogue lines for different things. So Burstone Quarry, this is another incredibly technical level. A lot of this movement, and I apologize because this is my fault, involves precisely clipping around the edges of these barriers right next to the edges of the ground. These pincushions, if you touch them, knock you away just the same as stab weeds do, so you can very easily just get knocked right off the platforms. You're supposed to hit these switches here to alternate which one of these stalagmites are up versus down, but that is slow, so we're not going to do that crap. We're just going to roll through all of this, clip right into the final area here where there's a boss called Sir Lunky, and long may he reign.
Remember how I said Rattletails ain't the worst?
So I really love that strat. Shout out to House Edge for coming up with that particular, the Lunky drop we call it, where you just, either you lure him to just jump to his death, which is hilarious, or you lure him to jump to the edge of the platform, and then you shoot him with the musket and knock him off to his death, which is also hilarious. So more lore. Zolf is like, hey, FYI, the Ura are about to like attack the Bastion. I kind of like you. You probably shouldn't go back. You're gonna get killed. And the kid's like, nah, man. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna save the Bastion, and we're gonna do it the only way we know how in a speedrun, which is to die as quickly as possible. So the way you're intended to do this, you have to get to the center of the Bastion, and then once you're there, if you die, it's okay, and it's just like, okay, sure, you failed, but whatever. But we have a different way of doing it that's much, much faster. So we're gonna get killed by these guys pretty quickly. We have a chance to carry on. Now we're gonna fall because we have some iframes. Take some damage. Now these guys are gonna finish us off nice and quickly. Ah, the randomness. Okay, whatever, it's fine. So restart area, then exit to main menu, then continue. And this skips the entire invasion. So as you're gonna see right now, as we load back in, we're just in the regular Bastion here. So the way that works is when you go back to the invasion from Burstone Quarry, it does not auto-save the game. So if you were to exit the main menu and continue at that point, it would actually make you redo Burstone Quarry. But when you die and restart area, it always auto-saves regardless of the circumstances. So we do that, then we exit to main menu, and from the main menu, the only place the game knows where to send you is the Bastion. So it sends you to the Bastion and the invasion is skipped. So this is Resendra Gate, and we're starting the final kind of gauntlet of levels here. This one is kind of interesting. It's like in these various scenes that are kind of stitched together. The implication is the kid is taking a long time to get through all this area, like actual days, multiple days. And so as you're going, Primorix is going to intentionally take damage in various places. He's going to take a couple falls. He's going to take a couple hits from these Ura attackers there. And he's going to set up, as you guessed, Were Whiskey. And so this guy's going to be a bro. He's going to deal a little bit of damage to us. Here, again, we're going to roll off so that we get control right here on this next screen. And block that attack. Just make sure we don't get killed. Now, with Were Whiskey active, we actually crit all these environmental obstacles just the same as you would crit an enemy. If we didn't have Were Whiskey, it would take a lot longer to break those things. So that's a nice advantage. And then we'll want Were Whiskey on this next little scene here. This is the last one right here. And we're going to find the final shard, actually. It's right here. It's right in front of us. Now it's in our inventory. Now it's not in our inventory. Now the Ura guy has it, and we're going to have to chase it down. So Prime is just going to throw a grenade off in distance, and another one. And there were 3 enemies there, but not anymore, and that allows us to leave the level.
First things first, though. There's someone we figured needed rescuing. Zia.
Yeah, so apparently, according to the story, Zolf kidnapped Zia or whatever. She's missing, so we need to go after her because, you know, she's our ally.
Something we had to do.
And so that is going to take us to Zoltan's Hollow, the second to last level. And this level is pretty interesting because you basically don't do anything that's intended in this level. You're supposed to collect this Calamity Cannon. It's a weapon that just dropped to the right there. And you're supposed to use it to break a bunch of these things that lower these barriers that we're just going to clip right on through. All of them, like, they're basically constructed of multiple objects adjacent to one another. And this game has a little bit of a problem with objects being adjacent to one another sometimes, so you can just roll right through at a precise angle and you can clip. Sometimes the clips in this game depend on the 30% increased speed of doing the mouse movement, but a lot of them don't. So actually, if you want to play this game on controller and just try some of this stuff, actually a lot of it just works, and it's fun to do. Like, it's just cool. The last interesting thing to note here is, okay, the Ura guy didn't follow him, but Primorix actually went behind Zia here because he's a giant coward, and if that Ura guy follows you to the end, he can shoot at you and actually kill you during this blackout. And Zia actually acts like a very good shield, so if you die, the camera blacks out while you're in the Bastion here, and it's really bad, and that is because we need to do this glitch right here. If you can pull it off very quickly, very nice. Okay, so that is, it's a frame-perfect trick where you bring up the confirmation and you hit escape and enter at the same time. And that stores this dialogue. So I apologize, but you're not going to be able to see most of the final level Tassel terminals. And the reason is, actually, you can kind of make it out looking at the stream here, but the reason he's doing this is when you confirm this dialogue that says, hey, you know, are you sure you're happy with what you equipped at the distillery? you will recalculate what buffs and debuffs you have, what your distillery effects are, what boons you have from shrines, etc. That's going to be really important on a later screen. But for now, we got through the first screen of Tassel Terminals. There's a lot of it's a kind of culmination of a lot of the stuff you've done so far. There's a bunch of movement on precise platforms. There's a bunch of enemies in the way that you kind of got to bypass as quickly as possible. And there's some other challenges as well. So one of those challenges is on this screen, the second of Tassel Terminal's 4 screens. We are going to collect what I would consider the second worst item in the game. Apologies, Supergiant. This is the hopscotch. It is a spirit. Interesting note. And it replaces your roll with a jump. And the jump is slow and unfortunately does not benefit from your mouse movement bonus. So here, Primorix is taking intentional falls. That just sets him further along this lengthy path. And he's also setting up Were Whiskey once again, because here there's 2 Ura dudes. This guy right here that you could barely make out, that he threw a grenade at, and then a mini-boss that he needs to kill right here very carefully and not take a depth. So here it is. He's going to throw a pike grenade, another grenade, and he got him. Very, very nice. So whew, if he had died there... So if he had died there, you might have seen before on the previous times that he did the press escape to carry on. You have to press escape to carry on. And if you press escape, it cancels this dialogue. And this is 2 screens too early for that. So now that he has this, the only thing he has to do is just not accidentally press escape or enter or something. And I mean, there's not much likelihood of you doing that, right? Like, right?
No. I just need to not click on it on the screen.
Yep. So, all right, 3rd screen of Tassel Terminals. Remember, there's 4 coming up right here. If you thought the hopscotch was an undesirable item for a speedrun, well, Supergiant has another twist for you. Sorry, I still love you guys. This is the battering ram, and so if it wasn't enough to replace the roll, which goes fast, with a jump, now they're going to give you a thing that replaces both of your cool weapons with the battering ram, and it's going to replace your jump with the battering ram. Oh, and it's going to replace the secret skill with, you guessed it, the battering ram. So the other thing it's going to do is it's going to apply a debuff to you. Notice I said debuff. Remember that confirmation dialogue. This debuff reduces your movement speed by a large percentage. Also reduces your damage taken by a large percentage. It's the same debuff, so this is important. Keep this in mind. Because we're going to the last screen. We still got this distillery confirmation dialogue. And as soon as the last screen loads in, Primorix is going to confirm this. That is going to recalculate his buffs and debuffs. It is going to remove the movement speed debuff, which also includes the damage taken reduction. So he's going to be taking a ton more damage here than he normally would. There it is. So now notice how quickly he's moving. This is not the normal movement speed of the battering ram. And so he's going to do a lot of attacks with the battering ram at specific times and places to make sure that enemies hit him as few times as possible. So he'll even do a few extra ones. Normally you want to minimize the number of attacks you do. Each one is 1 second, but he is going to do a few extra just to get enemies out of the way sooner so they deal less damage to him. So this is going very well so far. He's got 3 black tonics to use his secret skill with the ram, and he's going to use those here to make sure he gets these enemies done as quickly as possible. He needs to chase the big Ura dude who's got the shard. That's the last shard. That's all we need to finish the game. He's got him in the final position. He is actually going to try to save this last black tonic, so he's going to just stand here, block that damage. Oh, you got a friend, buddy. Oh, stay there, stay there, stay there. He stayed. All right. All right. So, all right. So now we're leaving Zolf behind. I'm sorry if you have played this casually in your life and you are, like, really, like, you know, kind of attached to the idea of saving Zolf. It's really slow. It's a huge time loss. So we're not going to do that. We're going to take the battering ram and we're going to, you know, shuffle very quickly over to the end here. We have Were Whiskey now, apparently. It actually doesn't matter. Our health is totally okay. These things would die in 1 hit anyway. The only thing that really matters here is just killing the melee enemies as quickly as possible, because their knockback will set you back a few, you know, yards or whatever and just cost you time. So he's going to take them out as quickly as possible. He saved 1 black tonic for right here. And those guys just did not even come forward, but whatever, it's fine. We're at the end of the level, so there you go. Very nice job in Tazzel Terminals. Great job showing off the storage there, so that was really cool to see. Something new since the last time this game has been in a marathon. But now we just have to get up, kid.
Hey, kid.
And this part is just scripted. Random interesting note,
Get up, kid.
because we used the storage and we canceled out the debuff earlier, we also recalculated what spirits we have. And remember I said hopscotch is a spirit, so that's actually unequipped now. So we're gonna be able to roll here for a brief time, but it actually, as far as I know, saves no time because you have to wait a moment to be able to drop the 14th shard in.
We'll talk. The Bastion. It's finally finished.
Indeed. So we just need to
There's
do
something
one last thing, and that is to pick an ending. And there is a final boss here. It is the what we call the NPC dialogue boss. So there's 2 NPCs here. You've got to open up their little dialogue option windows, but then you close them, and you don't select any of them because each one of them is 10 seconds. So you can do it. I believe in you, and be ready on time.
We can tell you how to work this thing if you got any questions.
All right, that's 1.
Hey,
That's 2. Nicely done, and time. That is a really good time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Vulajin, for doing a lot of the talking for me. I really appreciate the work he put in to help me out. And just shout outs to the Bastion speedrunning community. You know, everyone, Ian, Some Dude, Acrid, House Edge, Leon, Kazadan, Arctice, everyone in the community. They're really helpful, really supportive. So, you know, if you are interested in trying this game, just hop in the Discord, say hi, and we'll be more than glad to help you out.
Indeed, go to speedrun.com/all lowercase Bastion. You'll be able to find a link to the Discord there, as well as a bunch of guides and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a really fun speedrun, so like even if you if you have never speedrun before and you're like, man, I'm watching AGDQ and like I don't know whether I can do that or not, you can do it with this game. Like this is a great starter game to kind of get into it. Also, I want to like give a shout out to Primorix because I've run this game a lot at GDQs, but I am far from the only runner. Like, there's a ton of people who've put in a lot of time and effort. And Primorix has been running this game nearly as long as I have. He's clearly way better than me now. So it's really nice to be able to finally get some community representation here and then show the game off a little bit.
But we're not done yet, right?
That's right.
Right?
We have a hilarious. We beat the game in 45 minutes, right? How about 5? How's 5 sound?
So, just gotta change one control quickly. It's gonna help me out, and I mean, I'll just go.
Yeah, sure. You can like reset the time, start it, whatever. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter too much.
No big deal.
So this category is any % new game, and
This one.
it's
Now here's a kid whose whole world.
it's something. So we're gonna start here in the final level. This is the Rippling Walls, the first screen of the final level. And so we're gonna need to get started here and make our way to the first of 2 weapons that we're gonna acquire, the hammer. One cool thing we'll be able to do now is talk about some minute details we didn't talk about previously. So starting here, when you get the roll, right afterwards there's this gas fella. If you kill him, it does take some time that you think maybe I don't need to spend, but it causes the kid to automatically take some damage here. So when you collect some health potions from that that fountain, you can then use one, and that causes these squirts to spawn just slightly faster. This is something we found by reading the scripts of the game. Like, we can actually read those out of the game data files. And so we did that back in like 2017. We learned that, and it's a pretty cool little optimization. Saves about 2 seconds. Here in the Soul Regret, again, you want to hit Rondi as quickly as possible. Sorry. Pick up the shield, and then come on over here. Then you kill this turret. And then the boxes are going to spawn. A lot of this is just exactly the same strats as in all story levels. And, you know, it's just done to kind of a hyper level of optimization because, like, the world record in this category is like 4 minutes and 20 seconds or something. So it's kind of stupid how much you need to pay attention to every little bit of stuff. These squirts, actually, a dumb thing about them is that they're a little bit random as far as where they go, how quickly they spawn. The randomness on how quickly they spawn is kind of balanced out, but the where they go and like how they move is really annoying. That's really annoying when your Fang Repeater just shoots into nowhere, but it's fine. We're not super concerned about the time right now.
He gets a good look at things on his way.
All right, so this is the final screen of the final level. We've got all of our weapons. We are still going to collect the secret skill Whirlwind because it's still going to help us. Actually, it makes that clip at the end of this level a little bit easier. We're going to take out these 2 turrets. That lets us get through. Again, we don't need anything from the Distillery or Arsenal, but you just have to open them up, each one, to form the bridge to continue on here. And now we're going to get on the barge. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit about item duplication. So in this game, there's 2 ways to duplicate items. One way is that if you interact with the item on consecutive frames, consecutive, back-to-back, not alternating, you will pick it up twice. And the easiest way to do that is bind interact to mouse wheel, and then you just scroll it, and the game actually just allows that by default. And if you have a Logitech G502, God, it's really easy. But we're going to do something a little different. We're going to store a menu by doing confirm and cancel on the same frame, basically. And then we're just going to scroll to our heart's content. Just to be 100% safe, Primorix did 14 scrolls there because he needs 14 cores and shards to complete the game. And okay, so that's the final level done. So now we just need to drop the remaining core, all 14 of them, into the monument. And to do this, we're gonna do. Oh man, okay. So we're easier. Yeah, so we lost the dialogue glitch here, and that's actually a really big time loss in this category. Because think of it like you're doing your laundry, right? So you've got 2 loads of laundry going. You got one in the washer, and you got one in the dryer, and they're going simultaneously. And if you do the dialogue glitch, you can have both your washer and your dryer going simultaneously, and you can drop cores in both of them, basically. Think of it that way. So you can drop it in twice as fast overall. But otherwise, you gotta do it one. Oh, huh.
It's letting me get a couple at a time.
Okay, great, good. Yeah, all right, cool. We're dropping them all in. Yeah, let's go. There's 6. There's number 7. There's 8, sure, I guess. Yeah, cool, 8 cores. Yeah, that's a good number. Oh, I guess we need shards now. Oh, well, it's a good thing we have those because they're the same item. So we'll just drop those in. Yeah, all that trouble for a single shard. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Cool. Yep, uh-huh. Yeah, the shard, it's doing business, yeah.
The monument's getting better.
There's only one cure. More shards. All right, that's all the shards. There we go. I mean, we still have more, actually, in our inventory. We probably have a couple hundred left, but it's fine. We got 14. Good enough. All right, so we're just about done here. Same deal, final boss, Heart of the Bastion. Don't click on the dialogue options because it'll be really sad.
So here's the deal.
And a funny note here, you actually can only select one ending option. And the other ending only comes if you get a certain item from Prosper Bluff, which we didn't do any levels. So. There you go. That would be time if you were running the timer. So. Yeah. So Gratz, Prime, I'm pretty sure that's a PB, right?
It must be, because I don't have a run submitted.
Continuing the great tradition of doing your first any % run in a marathon. Oh, man. Well, that was good. Good job. Thanks for a great 2 runs there. And thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Let's hear it again for Primorix and those 2 fantastic Bastion runs. Now be sure to stick around, friends, because coming up next we have Momodora, Reverie Under the Moonlight, which I hear is the cat's meow. Keep them coming, it only fuels me. And y'all will also be pleased to know that the incentive was met, so our friend Sneaky is going to be playing Momodora on insane difficulty. You do not want to miss that one. But all right, friends, what do you say we jump right back into some of those donations? We have $250 from Cronus of a Soul, who says, come on, people, let's make that Sonic Mania Plus race happen. And as an update on that, we are now at 19,125 of 30,000, so that's only a little bit over 10,000. A little bit. And there's only 3 games. Can we hit a bit under 11,000 in 3 games? Yeah, that's right. We absolutely can. We have $15 from Patrick34, who says, we can prevent cancer, sure, but there's no cure for Sonic Mania. Now we're going to jump away to some Twitch ads, and I'll see you all back again in about a minute. Okay, I suppose we won't be jumping to Twitch ad. Ad machine must be broken. That's all right. We got plenty more we can do here. All right, we have $100 from Buddy163. If you were to complete a game quickly with the help of drummer Danny Carey, guitarist Adam Jones, bassist Justin Chancellor, and vocalist Maynard James Keenan, would it be considered a tool-assisted speedrun? Buddy, I'm gonna have to take your word for that. I don't listen to Tool, but thank you for your generosity nonetheless. We have $100 from Mooch Float Jr. 155. This is my 2nd year watching, and it's always a treat to see so many communities coming together in one place for a great cause. Good luck to all the runners, and here's hoping we can get that Mania Plus race. Hear, hear. And speaking of Mania Plus, with Sonic Block coming up, it's a great time to talk about how now there are some more prizes that are available. We now have a very, very nice framed Sonic 2.5D needlepoint scene, which I believe it looks like Sonic and Tails running through Hilltop Zone. Very top-notch stuff. And also a Sonic and Tails chainmail inlay. That's right, chainmail. For the needlepoint, a combined total of $15 donation will get you in for that one, and a combined total of $25 for the Sonic and Tails chainmail. And those will be, you'll be able to get in on those if you donate through the end of the Sonic Rush run a bit later on. Okay, I've just gotten the green